Skinny Hardaway 7T back with another EP. And y'all do your boy a favor. Y'all smash that like button for your boy when you roll on in. Whether you're here for a good time or a long time. I ain't gonna hold up too much of y'all time this morning with this EP. Just want to come talk to y'all real quick about the Joshua Franco and the Ioka fight this weekend. Joshua Joshua Franco took on Ioka for the 115-pound unified strap. You know what I mean? The WBA and the WBC titles were on the line, if I'm not mistaken. It was a highly interesting fight between Franco and Ioka. A lot of action within that fight. Kazuto Ioka, Joshua Franco. His first name was eluding me, but Kazuto Ioka and Joshua Franco, they fought Saturday morning at about 4 p.m. in Japan, right? I believe I did a fight breakdown on the right. I said in order for Franco to win that fight, he had to be a little busier. He's the younger guy. He had to be a little busier. Aoko is a very crisp, technical boxer. He landed, his good crisp shots in between Franco, but he just didn't land enough shots in between Franco. At least for my liking, and a lot of people like it. The feel around the fight ended up being a majority draw. One judge gave the fight to Franco 15-13, and the other two judges had it 114 apiece, right? So one judge actually gave the fight to Franco, and the other two saw the fight, a draw. Masses, right? Popular belief feels like that Joshua Franco won that fight, and he won it pretty easily. I seen the punch stats come out about that fight, and I think those punch stats, are wicked. You know what I mean? From just looking at it, the eye test, you know, Joshua Franco, he won that fight. He won that fight pretty easily. What's good, Judah Ben? I believe if that fight was held anywhere other than Japan, then Joshua Franco would have been awarded that victory. And you know what I say? You know how I feel about what's good, Judah? You know how I feel about people getting draws in other people's home country. I feel like anytime you get a draw in somebody else's home country, that means that you probably, won that fight, right? But I feel like Joshua Franco was the more aggressive fighter. I feel like he landed uh the most shots in this fight. Aoka he played it too safe. You know what I mean, in my opinion. And in the case, right, I would say, well, you got to go out there and you have to actually beat a champ. In this case, both these guys, are champions. So this is a fight. This is a fight where no one fighter was trying to take the other belt from the other guy, right? But this was a fight where it was two champions and they were fighting for unification. Boxing, I've seen some terrible, terrible decisions in boxing, so I don't really throw that robbery word around loosely. You know what I mean? But this particular fight, I do feel like um, Joshua Franco was robbed. I do feel like there needs to be a second fight. I feel like there almost has to be a second fight, right? Because we want to get this 115-pound division, interesting division, actually. We want to get this division, you know what I mean? We want to get an undisputed champion at this division, right? We got Ioka who fights here. We got Franco who fights here. We got Junta Nakatani who just moved up to here, right? And Ioka more than likely will be getting his fight with will be getting a mandatory order. He has a mandatory coming up against Nakatani. So more than likely, he's going to have to fight that because they used an exempt in order to get this unification fight going. So I doubt if Nakatani is going to take step aside again. So we're probably going to get Ioka versus Nakatani. Nakatani is coming up from the 112 division. So Ioka is probably going to have to fight Nakatani before stepping into a rematch with Franco. Right? Franco is going to be open to fight whoever. So outside of a rematch with Ioka and Franco, we're probably going to get Nakatani. What's good, Andre? Appreciate you sliding through. We're probably going to get Nakatani and Ioka. So an instant rematch with this fight may not, happen right off the bat. But I do think a rematch is needed, unless Nakatani beats Ioka, and then we have Franco versus Nakatani. You know what I mean? The other champion at this division is Estrada. is Estrada. Estrada just beat Chocolatito, you know what I mean, not too long ago. So Estrada is also in this division. His Ioka looked like shit when he was pressed. Yeah, Andre, I believe Franco got him. I believe Franco got him, and I believe them being in Japan played a big part in a decision that that came about, right? But there's that good fight this weekend. Also, real quick, I want to hit it, y'all. Jermell Charlo, he had some interesting news to drop. They was asking him about, his hand injury in the fight with Tim Tszyu that he had coming up. And along the way, Jermell had something interesting to say. I'm about to hit it, y'all, what Jermell had to say. Jermell said that he very well could be at the 154-pound division for some time. You know what I mean? And I thought that was interesting because we all know Earl Spence, said he's coming up to 154. You know what I mean? Pretty soon. It's looking like, Earl Spence is going to be fighting Keith Thurman, right? All signs are pointing towards him fighting Keith Thurman. He was about to fight Keith Thurman before the car accident, right? Then the car accident happened. And then it's been up in the air about who he would fight. But Keith Thurman, is still his number one option. You know what I mean? It's still the number one option being placed in front of him, right? Right now, right? It's either his mandatory Stanonis and Virgil winner, or it's going to be Keith Thurman. They're still pushing Keith Thurman in front of him, right now, right? So he's looking like that he's going to have to fight. That he's going to fight Keith Thurman next, right? And after Keith Thurman, he wants to fight Terrence Crawford. Really, he would, in the perfect world, he would want to fight Terrence Crawford next, right? But if he can't fight Terrence Crawford, mandatories are going to come about, and Keith Thurman is first up in line in his mandatory injunction with the WBA. The WBC mandatory is first. Injunction with the WBA mandatory, so Keith Thurman will be the first opponent, put up. So possibly, right, Earl Spence could have two more fights at 147, Keith Thurman and Bud Crawford, or if he can go straight into a Bud Crawford fight, then he's going to forego, the Keith Thurman or his mandatory fight. I should say the mandatory fight, not necessarily a Keith Thurman fight, right? So if he could get the undisputed fight, then he's going to forego his mandatory fight. You know what I mean? But Jermell Charlo, he had some interesting news to say. He said, I very well could stay at 147 for my whole career. And that got me thinking, right? So if Earl Spence is talking about moving up, and then you got Jermell saying he could stay at 154 his whole career, that means eventually, crash course. But I digress, right? So this is what Jermell Charlo had to say. My whole career, Charlo recently replied when asked how long he'll fight it this weight. Charlo said, I have a twin brother at 160. I have a stablemate Earl at 147. We all comfortably make the weight. And whatever happens in the future, I cannot predict. I'm just ready to get it on as fast as y'all are ready to see it. That's what Jermell Charlo had to say. So when they asked him how long he could be at 54, his reply was, you know what I mean, my whole career. And then he said his brother make 160 comfortably. Earl Spence makes 147 comfortably. And they very well could be, at their divisions for some time now. And then Charlo, he went on to say, right, and I'm about to read. Hold on, as soon as I get my stuff together. It's malfunctioning on me. I hate when my shit be malfunctioning on me. Hold on. Charlo said, I make 54 easy. I'm 10 pounds overweight early in training camp. I'm sharp. I'm in shape. I don't go in and talk about what I do. This is a lifestyle for me. Boxing is not just a sport. When we're trying to win titles, we're going to win and we're going to enjoy it later. We're going to enjoy it when we sit back in our big mansions and chill with our families and homies and stuff. And we like, wow, we did it. And then, sometimes we sit back and think we made it this far, but it's just not done yet. It's not over for me. I'm just too hungry at this moment. That's what Charlo had to say, in regards to him staying at 154. But he said pretty much they all could stay at their divisions for quite some time now. You know what I mean? And I said that to say this when they asked Earl Spence about, him fighting Charlo or him moving up, Earl Spence always says that he's open to, fighting whoever as long as the money is right. You know what I mean? So in the back of my mind, I'm still kind of feeling like we may very well get a Earl Spence, Charlo fight. I think that fight would be huge. I think that fight would be huge for boxing. I think that fight would be huge for boxing. You know what I mean? But he's a Nakatani nice skinny. Ioka might be in serious trouble if he fights something. Yeah, I most definitely would take what's good? Shout out my guy Andre. Andre, I most definitely would take Nakatani over Ioka. Because Franco really put hands on Ioka. I think at this point, like a more competitive fight might be Franco and Ioka. Because Ioka lost this fight with Joshua Franco. And I hate that Franco wasn't awarded his victory because Nakatani Franco would have been a banger. You know what I mean? I personally think, right? But I encourage y'all to go watch that fight, right? If y'all haven't seen Nakatani, the Nakatani versus if y'all haven't seen the Nakatani versus Franco fight, I advise y'all to go watch it. Don't just take my word for it, right? I feel like, there may have been a robbery. I feel like that if the fight was in America, then Franco would have been awarded the victory. But don't take my word for it. Y'all make sure that y'all go check that thing out. Jermell Charlo said that he very well could be at 154 for his whole career. He said that he feels great. He doesn't have a problem making his weight. He also mentioned Errol Spence, and he mentioned his brother Jermell. He said that they have no problem, making this weight. So Jermell is under understanding that once the shift happens, they're all going to shift together. But when they asked Earl Spence about moving up, Earl Spence says that he hadn't really checked with nobody. He says that he's open to fighting anybody. So again, I'm noticing still that Jermell and Earl kind of sing different tunes when it comes to the idea of a super fight at 154. So that's just something for us to keep a eye on. But again, I ain't gonna keep y'all in this thing too long. I'm gonna come back a little later with Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez EP. Bob Arum has some interesting things to say. We go chop it up about that in just a second. Y'all do your boy a favor, jab that like button. If it's your first time, don't make it your last time. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It's getting harder with Southern T. This ain't the past, this ain't the future, but just the present. That's how we rocking. And I'm out. Love.